Hi there, this is Samurai Snake. Welcome to part 2 of Megaman. Last time we defeated Bombman and Gutsman, and now we're gonna go after Cutman. Cutman was created for deforestation and has a ridiculous cutter on his head. According to the Rockman Forte database, his good point is that he can cut heads off pretty well. His bad point is that he doesn't listen to other people's opinions. He likes cutting things, but hates Janken, otherwise known in the West as rock, paper, scissors. Speaking of rock, paper, scissors, the gameplay of Mega Man was based off that very concept, using one weapon to easily defeat a certain boss. It was very innovative back then, and still holds up pretty strong, even by today's standards. Now, remember when I said that I used the NES Atlas recommended boss order? Most people usually start with Cutman, because he's the easiest boss to defeat in the entire game, even with the Mega Buster. Throughout the stage, there are 2 cutter dispensing machines that toss indestructible cutters at you. The machines are invincible too, so it's useless to try blowing them up. Cutman stage is also pretty easy. Most of the enemies in it are either stationary turrets or Susies. Quite a lot of them appear in the next 3 screens, so you'll have to destroy most of them to clear a path. Cutman stage also appears to be a ruined city, what with blocks lying around the place. And powered up, Cutman stage looks more like an actual forest, so as to keep true to his original purpose as a deforestation robot. In the demo for Powered Up, Cutman stage was chosen to be one of 2 stages that would appear in it. Fireman stage was also available if you shared the demo with another PSP. A lot of lag occurs primarily because there are more than 3 enemies on the screen. The graphics also tend to flicker quite a bit when that happens. It's due to the limitations in the NES and Famicom. Speaking of which, system limitations are the very reason why Mega Man is blue. He was originally intended to be red, because Keiji Inafune is a big fan of the anime Cyborg 009. Once you reach the second cutter dispenser, a life capsule will be waiting for you at the end of the section, should you need a refill. I believe that both Cutman and Gutsman were the only 2 robot masters that appeared in every episode of the Ruby Spears Mega Man cartoon. If you ask me my opinion of the Mega Man cartoon, it wouldn't be very positive, but that's a story for another day. The eye enemy indicates that you're very close to Cutman. Ignore him and continue right. The final hallway in Cutman's stage contains a lot of screwdriver turrets, till they rise up from the ground or ceiling and then attack them. If you meet Cutman and Powered Up, you'll get some pretty interesting dialogue.
兄貴、ワイリー博士の言ったことは本当だったんすね。
カットマン？一体何のこと？
兄貴が悪い戦闘ロボットに改造されてあっちこっちを荒らして回ってるって。オイラが兄貴を止めて元に戻すっすよ。
Cutman tends to run around the room and toss his cutter at Rock while standing in mid-air. He's slightly harder because of his increased stamina against the super arm, and because his desperation attack can also destroy the blocks you stand on. In the NES version, fighting Cutman is a joke. Just toss the 2 blocks at him with the super arm and he's dead. That's it. If you use the Mega Buster, he'll get knocked back a bit. The rolling cutter functions just like a boomerang, and will also cut Bombman's bombs in half in the remake. Next up is Elecman, not Elkman. If you listen to the classic rock band Journey a bit, you'll instantly recognize what tune Elecman's theme sounds like. Listen for a bit. If you guessed faithfully, you'd be correct. You'd also be correct if you guessed REM's All the Right Friends. Megaman games have a lot in common with music. It's not just limited to the game's tunes sounding like rock music, but also quite a bit of Megaman characters tend to be named after musical genres. Elecman's stage is the most tediously frustrating stage in the game, because 99.9% of it is spent climbing up. It doesn't help that Megaman climbs up at a snail's pace. It also marks the first appearance of the disappearing blocks that gave gamers lots of aneurysms over the years. They reappear in a pre-programmed pattern, so you'll have to memorize their order of appearance. According to the Rockman and Forte database, Elecman was created to control the voltage generated by electric power plants. His good point is that he is very devoted to his mission. His bad point is that he likes to fool around a lot. He loves to play the electric guitar and hates rubber products. Very, very cheesy. Elecman was also the first robot master that Keiji Inafune designed, and is therefore his favorite out of the original 6 robot masters. Probably even the entire robot masters that he created. Coming up in just a bit is the reason why I chose Bomb Man first. The Magnet Beam. If you don't defeat Bomb Man and then Guts Man, you won't be able to get the Magnet Beam right away. It's invaluable because it's a great helping item that creates temporary platforms. It's awesome to watch speedrunners use it because it looks very impressive. There are 2 paths that you can take. Personally, I'd stick with the right ladder. You'll want to save all the rolling cutter energy that you can for the boss fight. It's also slightly easier because there are fewer electric beams surrounding it. You also won't have to deal with the frustration of getting knocked off the ladder and falling down a couple of screens. If you took the right path, it'll end with 2 frog enemies, as well as a block that you can lift with a super arm. It's definitely a lot faster. You'll also have to make use of the magnet beam in order to get out of it, though. What I love about the magnet beam is that you can use it to get out of having to actually jump from platform to platform. The boss door is just above these 2 electric beams. As usual, an eye guards it. You'd be better off waiting for it to jump into the abyss instead of fighting it. One thing that's dumb is that Megaman lets go of a ladder when you exit the weapons screen. He just turns into his teleporting beam and just goes down to the next screen. I just got too impatient to wait and somehow barely avoided death. If you make it all the way up here with 1 point of life, go ahead and commit suicide. The best part about dying in the final hallway is that you'll get to start at the beginning of it, rather than halfway through the stage. Electric beams are placed along the sides of the final ladder. Only 2 screens separate you from Elecman. Megaman's snail-paced climbing could also be considered a plus with the electric beams around the place. Fortunately, the programmers learned how sadistic this section was and replaced it with a simple boss door and powered up. Here's the dialogue between Rock and Elecman.
よく来たね。でもここでお別れだよ。最後にしびれるセリフでも聞かせておくれ。エ
レキマン、君と戦う理由なんてないよ。さあ一緒に帰ろう。
そんなセリフじゃ私のハートは射抜けないよ。残念だけど電光石火で行かせてあげるよ。
Elecman is slower in the remake and attacks with a Thunder Beam attack. I failed to capture his Desperation attack, which involves calling thunder down to strike Megaman. In the NES version, Elecman is the hardest boss to defeat because he is extremely fast. I got lucky on defeating him in record time with 3 hits from the rolling cutter. Obtaining the Thunder Beam gives you the opportunity to cheap out the remaining bosses in the game, but there's a select few that I have in mind. Well, that's it! Stay tuned for part 3, where we take on the last 2 Robot Masters. See y'all then!